Salutations, shades, and welcome back to your one-stop shop for all things strange and unusual, talking with shadows. The conversation everyone has, but no one wants to admit to. Here with your host, Vic Whaley.
And a very tired Marcus D.
Oh yeah.
And we are coming to you guys live right now from this Bates Motel 6 that we are staying at while we are here at the Virginia Sasquatch Festival. Here in Wives Cave, Virginia, and this is the after party, mind you, for our time there today at the festival, and it was really awesome. And we want to give a really, really, really big shout out to two fans.
Oh, not laugh.
That was a laugh.
There we go. There we go.
Thank you. A real big shout out, and thank you so much to Justin and Asia for coming up to talk to us, who drove to just see us. Like, that was why they came out. That was so amazing.
Just so you guys know, like, since we don't do a whole lot of public events, we've never actually met a fan in person before.
Like, in public. We didn't know what to do.
Dude, I think we were gushing way more than they were.
It was like the coolest thing ever. Justin and Asia were so awesome.
I lost my damn mind.
Yeah, Justin said that he had been a fan of us for a very, very long time and listening to the YouTube channel and the podcast. And so we were just so thankful that they came up to talk to us. Yeah, because this is the first time that we ever did a speaking engagement together in public. I think technically you did one by yourself because I was at work.
And we've attempted to do a few others, but I know one got canceled because of a wedding that we both needed to go to. And then another one got canceled because I had COVID.
And then another one before that got canceled because of COVID. It was canceled twice, I think, once at EvilCon because of just COVID in general, and then because you got COVID for Louisville Fringe Festival, and it was just this was it. This was finally the time that we got to go out and do our first guest speaking service, and it was a great hit. We had a great time. We did a whole talk on how to debate with the skeptics, like Bigfoot, how to debate the skeptics.
And hopefully that'll be up by the time this goes up, too.
Oh, yeah. I'll make sure that goes up forward. So we're doing the after party. We're giving kind of some of our afterthoughts of the guest speakers that were there and our experiences that we had there and what we liked. Because it was so much fun.
Oh, actually, and the reason why we're so exhausted is this is actually only a few hours.
Oh, yeah. We left. I think we left the festival like 2 hours to go to. We got food and then decided to take a nap and came back here to the hotel. And one of the things that I would say, we had an insane journey going here. Here's something
real fun.
Oh no, yeah, real fun. We're from Indiana, so the one thing that we're not used to here in Indiana was toll roads. What's going on, Virginia? What is up with toll roads? Like, they just stopped us in the middle of like the highway. Was like, you need to give us $4.
Like, wasn't it twice on the same road?
Yes, it was like we got shook down twice coming out here, and it was like $8 just to use a road. And they were like, I'm like, what's this for? They're like, well, we use this to help pay the roads. I'm like, I pay taxes. Well, no, really, I don't pay taxes out here. but it was just, we just didn't have them. That was the craziest
I was worried
thing.
We weren't going to have cash because, like, when I travel, I usually only travel with a small amount of physical cash. So I'm like, what happens? Do I just live here now?
I almost attempted to do that. Well, I don't know if you're familiar with the podcast Talking with Shadows to see if that would work. I think in our entire history of ever saying that's only ever happened once where anybody's ever heard of us. We brought it up in public. They would have been like, it's $4. Oh, you're with One Candle Society? Oh, awesome.
$10.
So they were going to charge us double just because of that.
Okay. Also, like, Marcus is not the easiest person to travel with. If you guys have not caught on, Marcus is very dramatic.
Excuse me. First of all,
you know what I'm talking about.
Everybody loves a good drama. Thank you.
You know what I'm about to talk about.
What are you talking about?
Okay, so we decided to stop and get some lunch. And
was-
Marcus
oh.
happens to see apparently
God.
something that's rare, and I was not that aware of this.
Oh my God.
Go ahead.
I saw, it's like seeing a unicorn. I saw a KFC buffet.
I didn't know
lost
this
my
was
shit.
something that people lost their mind over.
I lost people that like KFC. Please comment below. You know exactly what I'm talking about when you see a KFC buffet, because it's like KFC but unlimited KFC fried chicken and mashed potatoes.
So he starts losing his mind and just like flipping out about it, and then goes, "Oh, we can't go because you don't eat chicken."
That's true.
And then starts throwing a fit about
man.
this, and the whole time he's like angry posting online about this, and I point out like, hey, I actually don't mind just going and like eating some biscuits and like some mashed potatoes and, you know, I'm assuming macaroni and cheese. I don't go to KFC, so I don't know exactly what they have. Mm-hmm. And then he's like, no, you can't take this away from me. And just continues to throw this massive fit while I'm saying we can go, and then insists we don't go so he can continue his fit.
That is exactly what I wanted to happen, because I'm not going to have the entire time sit there and listen to you complain about not being able to do it.
I'm just going to eat mashed potatoes. Mashed potatoes are good.
Okay, anybody that knows the KFC buffet knows exactly where the nearest KFC buffet to them is. Okay, Evansville, Indiana, Martinsville, Indiana. That's where the closest KFC buffet is.
But we ended up finding a great place for lunch since you
Yes, we
insisted
did.
we couldn't eat there.
I did not insist that we couldn't eat
Do you
there.
remember the name of the place?
That we were that. No, I was.
Okay, it was
I'm
this
sorry.
Mexican restaurant, and it had the most beautiful thing I've ever seen on a menu. Not only did it have nachos, it had a whole nacho section, like 7 different kinds of nachos. Blew my mind. We both got nachos. It was delicious.
And one of the things that I really liked about it, it had like an amazing view. Like we were next to our window, and we had this amazing view of this KFC buffet that I was not allowed to eat at the entire time.
I told you we could go.
I'm not going to have you sit there and complain the entire time. If I can only eat mashed potatoes, it'd be nice if I could have something to eat here.
I'm going to be okay.
You know, and then he's like, you know what they should. And then actually, out of just deep respect and because I love you so much, I didn't want to take over there because I knew you made the comment. You know what they should really do here? They should make a Beyond Meat KFC chicken. And I would have had to strangle you. I would have choked you out.
That's a thing.
Not at a KFC buffet. It's not on that buffet. I can tell you that.
I only know this is a thing because I
know it's a thing.
few people in like Belgium told me about it, and I'm like, oh, cool.
I can tell you it is not on their KFC buffet.
I
can tell you that. And then I would have had to choose violence. So at that point, oh man. But we had a really good time whenever we got out to the festival. I was so, I'm not gonna lie, this was probably, I had to think, maybe the third paranormal like festival thing that I've ever been to. I think that I've gotten to go to since we've started.
I have no clue.
I said since we started One Candle Society. And so it was really good. It was really awesome getting to be a part of it. And then they asked us for our autograph. I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
I didn't know what to do at that point because we had never like really practiced like signing our autographs to stuff.
Okay, I was this totally caught me off guard. As you guys know, we use pseudonyms. These are not our real names.
Yes.
And I actually did not know if Vic was spelled with a C or a K whenever we do this, and I was really unsure on that.
Don't feel bad. I ended up signing like my real name like twice from people like for when I was doing it, and so it's okay. What I was really hoping that they would do is you'd sign it Kev.
Oh my god, there was a flaw in the original stuff that was put out that said it would be Marcus and Kev presented instead of Marcus and Vic. But I signed everything VIK instead of VIC, and I have no clue how to spell Whaley, so I just signed everything Vic W.
I absolutely saved that mistake banner. I look at it at night whenever I need just a good laugh and I'm feeling bad. I'm feeling bad about myself.
Who the hell's Kev? Who's this new co-host you're vetting or something, and you're telling everyone about but me?
Oh, I was like, this is the time you've Vic, you've been fired. I replaced you with a much younger version of yourself, version named Kev. Let's come in.
I was surprised by the merger. The merger was actually very cool.
Yeah,
I did not know people made Sasquatch branded barbecue sauce. That was a surprise to me.
Yeah, after we saw that, I was like, are we like behind the times? Do we need to start a Sasquatch dry rub?
There were a few times people had pitched to us to start like a Indiana style barbecue sauce, and just so you know, I don't like barbecue sauce. I like hot sauce. Maybe I'd try hot sauce.
I think sometimes you should not share personal information, Vic,
What,
because
is
you're
that
like,
a big
I don't
deal to say you don't like hot sauce? Or
No,
don't like barbecue sauce?
you're gonna be like, you know what? Couldn't go to the KFC buffet.
I told you we could go.
You know what? I don't like barbecue. I don't like barbecue sauce.
It's okay. I don't hate it. It's just not like one I really like. Buffalo sauce, I'll put buffalo sauce on everything. Cheese sauce, hell yeah.
You're just getting closer to me having introduced Kev in the next episode. I'm just if this
Oh
keeps
my God,
if this,
you're so
if this just keeps
dramatic.
up. You know, it's one of the things that I really we picked up. There was this really cool vendor that was there that sold these awesome, like they were like comic book style.
Yeah, comic book style posters.
Yeah, posters. And we
But
picked
for
up
cryptids.
Yeah, but for like cryptids. We picked up like 6.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna share photos of them on the social media because we're gonna frame these and put these around in the studio, so you guys can let us know which ones that you guys like best.
I'm trying to remember which all ones. I just got so excited. I started grabbing ones I liked, and I'm like, just take however much money you need.
I did. I got one on Kecksburg UFO on the Kecksburg UFO. I got one for Storm Area 51, and then I got the one where we like Mothman versus Bigfoot, like about to fight.
Oh, that's right. I got like Mothman, Friend or Foe, and the Squonk one. And dude had Hodag t-shirts.
Yeah, he did.
Hodag is my favorite fake, like totally 100% made up cryptid, and he had t-shirts of them. But I want to wear it as a night shirt, so I want a really big size, and he didn't have them there, so I'm gonna have to just order one from him.
Is it sacrilegious to sell hoax creatures at a festival?
I think it wouldn't be sacrilegious. I think it might be sacrosanct.
Okay,
I think it might be like extra important, like extra good to do so.
Like it's extra good to sell like hoax creatures. I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know. Do you get help settle that between me and Vic in the comments below? Is it a faux pas to sell hoax stuff like? No, don't get me wrong. If you're gonna sell one, Hodag is the way to go. Okay.
I just thought that was cool as hell.
Yeah, Hodag. I mean, any creature that needs to be taken out by bear wrestlers and dynamite is an A+ in my book. Of all the hoaxes, Hodag still reigns supreme as far as some of the best hoax that I've ever seen for cryptids. But
let's talk some about the presenters. There were some really cool presenters. Who do you want to talk about first?
There was a guy, the first speaker, William Nighthawk. He has a podcast called Nighthawk High Strangers Podcast. And you can check him out. We're gonna post a link to all of the speakers below in the comments for you guys to be able to check these guys out, because you absolutely should.
I absolutely adored Nighthawk. The guy was very, very cool, very, very nice. Had this amazing energy about him. Mm-hmm. And I really want to get him on for like 2 potential episodes, because there are 2 things that he talked about that really caught my attention. Mm-hmm. He talked mainly about things from a First Nations perspective, but one of the things he talked about was there being 4 different tribes of Bigfoot, which to me kind of sounded like translated into 4 species of Bigfoots, and he's explaining like how each one looked different, behaved different, and conducted themselves in different ways. And I would love to do an hour-long episode on different species of Bigfoot, where they come from, what makes them different. That's a super interesting concept to me.
Yeah.
And the other one was something he did that was a little sneaky. He did something a little sneaky.
Right.
He snuck in this like little tidbit of, I know this area of anomaly that would make Skinwalker Ranch look like a daycare. And I'm like, say what? And they're like, they didn't talk about it. I want to talk about that. That sounds awesome. Skinwalker Ranch, already crazy. If it makes that look like a daycare, I want to know what's happening.
That's
Little sneaky there, Nighthawk.
That's, I think, the only drawback to when you have a specialized festival. Because there's nothing wrong with doing a Bigfoot festival or any of these.
It was
like
fun.
Yeah, like the Hodag Festival or the Beast of Busco like festival, like these, or Flywood's Monster and all these. Like, I have nothing against those at all. But like, you know, when you're like us and you're into like a variety of different types of creatures and things in the paranormal, like, and he just starts like listing off all these other sorts of things like dogmen, skinwalkers. He dropped Glimmerman.
That was actually very cool, because no one talks about Glimmerman.
You know, and that was another one. The whole time, my eyebrows were just raised the entire time, just being like, man, I really wish this guy would go into talking about some of these.
And a random cool thing, he had this ceremonial knife, And my dad grew up when he was very young on the Cherokee Reservation. And when he passed, I was going through his stuff, and I found this weird ceremonial knife, and I had not really seen something like it before, and I wasn't sure what it was, and I couldn't find anything out about it. But he had something very similar on him, so I asked him about it, and he was able to explain to me what it was, which was very cool.
I think one of the coolest things that I liked about going to the festival and having so many different guest speakers talk is you really got to see the different ways that people approach talking about Bigfoot, like based on how they believe what it is, what they think you should do if it, because he exists, what's our relationship to Bigfoot like, what should we do in these types of things. And that was one of my favorite things, was listening to each of the guest speakers talk about that, because they came at it from some radically different perspectives.
Oh yeah.
Like even we did. Truthfully, honestly, we did too.
You know what really surprised me? Things are much heavier on the supernatural, spiritual Bigfoot angle than the biological angle. Because my assumption was going to be that the biological angle was probably going to be the focus. And no, like the people who talked mainly about that got like a lot more challenges than that. We actually did a little more of a biological angle ourselves.
Yeah, well, I think that, okay. So when you approach Bigfoot from the perspective of talking like spirituality or being a supernatural creature, everybody's beliefs starts coming into play, and I think
and it got hot a few times.
And it got tense a couple times with one of especially with the guy from MUFON, Frank Segula. Like, he was awesome. Like, it was awesome when you start bringing that out. Like,
you want to talk about him next?
Oh yeah. So the director of the West Virginia MUFON, he came on and he was talking about Bigfoot. And when we were doing our presentation...
Wait, I want to get this part.
Oh, sure, yeah, go ahead.
Okay. As soon as our part ended, this guy kind of saunters up to me and he leans up and goes, I can basically throw a wrench in your whole thing. He starts talking to me about, like, spiritual and paranormal aspects of Bigfoot and stuff. And the thing is, like, our presentation was arguing against skeptics. So we kind of took the stance of... we go from where we have the most common ground and work the way out. So I kept it in the biological sphere for it. And he gets done with this rant. I kind of look him in the eye and I go, so you're into the spiritual Bigfoot thing? And he goes, yeah. And I'm like, I am too. And then I explained, we just didn't really cover that in our discussion today. But I actually think that there is a lot of things about Bigfoot that fall out of the normal realm of physics.
Sure.
The dude was very interesting too.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, like we were talking about, like you said, like coming out from like when you're arguing with a skeptic. But the problem is, if you're arguing with a skeptic about Bigfoot's existence, and then you start trying to bring it like into the spirit, like it's a super spiritual creature, a supernatural creature, and it's got these super abilities, and it's just at that point it's probably even more difficult, probably to argue with a skeptic. And I'm like, I kept telling him, like, I get it, man. I get you. I get you. It's just not what we're talking about for the, like, and so I started talking to him a little bit about, like, some of the stuff that we had thought about, like, in terms of, like skinwalkers and stuff, like when it comes to Bigfoot and the different stuff that we've thought about for different winged humanoids, different types of humanoid creatures that are out there. And I was talking to Fred about that from MUFON, and he really liked that hypothesis too. And don't get me wrong, that's some of the most fun stuff to talk about Bigfoot. Don't get me wrong. I mean, like when you're talking about Bigfoot, that it tank bullets, tank tranquilizer darts, teleport all around, shapeshift, disappear.
Now I missed a part of his discussion because like we had just gotten done with ours, and so we had to get our equipment packed back up and stuff. But like his main thing was he felt Bigfoot was an alien.
And he's from MUFON.
Oh, that makes sense. I just want to make sure that I understood his premise correct, because I had missed part of it.
Yeah, and so like I think, but what was really, I felt kind of bad. I don't know if I'd call him a heckler, but there was somebody that was.
No, he was a heckler.
Yeah, he was a heckler that was heckling him, and he was heckling this guy who comes up to just give his, his own personal account, like, of Bigfoot too, and his personal thoughts.
Everyone. Except for me and you.
Yes.
We were the only ones that did not. Well, he asked us one question that I think he thought was going to throw a monkey wrench in our plan. And then the two of us just dissected the question 12 different directions. And then he didn't bother us anymore.
Which question
what did
he ask?
Asked about, it was, Okay, so if you were going to tranquilize
Oh,
Bigfoot,
yeah,
what
yeah,
specific things would you use in the tranquilizer? And then we just started listing off like names of tranquilizers because we happen to know them.
Yeah, different types
And that shut him up.
sedatives and things like that. Yeah, like I think for a big part of it, like it's probably like our whole thing was like he didn't want to argue with us because our whole presentation was on how to argue with people. I'm like, we're ready, man. Come on.
I mean,
like we're just chomping
was
at
just
the bit.
saying really weird nitpicky stuff.
Yeah, like and he was, so I'm like, and I think that I think if you're gonna come and you're gonna talk about things in the paranormal, we all have to understand we come at it from different perspectives.
Oh, yeah.
And sometimes you're going to be dealing with people's personal spiritual beliefs on it, and sometimes or professional beliefs. And I think that you're still going to have a sense of respect about it, because otherwise you're going to get tense.
But I feel like he wasn't. He wasn't.
Well, no, he wasn't, is what I'm saying. So,
thing.
yeah, I was like, I think this is just good advice for people. If you're going to ever go see a guest speaker, then it's okay to object to people. Because I mean, at one point I know
we had tons of objections.
Like at one point I know that there was one of the guest speakers that was talking about something, and he made a statement about something biology, and I felt like it was incorrect, and I sort of looked at you, and I knew you gave me the head shake that he was incorrect. But it's like kind of rude to just call somebody out like in the middle of that, and just be rude about it. Or if you have a different perspective, because I mean, when you're dealing with Bigfoot, you think there's multiple camps. There's Bigfoot's a undiscovered hominid, he's an undiscovered primate, and that he's this own separate spiritual creature. And all three camps hate each other.
Yeah, actually, I did not think that Bigfoot is an ape was really that big of a thing. I knew it was.
Oh, yeah.
It used to be a really big theory. I thought most people had moved into the hominid area, but I was surprised. Like one of the speakers, I don't really recall who at this point, had asked, what is Bigfoot, and then went around and asked everyone.
Oh yeah, that was Michael Cook from Cook Cryptid Research. Research. Yeah.
And he asked everyone, and there was a huge diversity of responses.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
hominid was maybe the most common, but there were plenty of people saying ape.
Yeah, I thought so too.
I just didn't think it was still that popular of a thought. I thought most people were in either the hominid or then the more unexplainable camp.
Well, I liked his presentation. I liked Michael's presentation too. From Michael, it was Michael Cook from Cook Cryptid Research.
He was very polished.
Yeah.
He had a very
I definitely thought he was probably the most polished out of any of the speakers that was there. Definitely was ready, and he gave this really cool introduction to like the history of Bigfoot research from like a researcher's perspective. I got like it was like Bigfoot 101. Like that really was kind of like what I thought, and then he brought it into some of his own research that he had done with his own investigative team, with like talking about like infrared stuff they've caught on that, and different trail cam footage that they've tried to do. And I thought that was really interesting. And one of the things that I was really excited talking to him about was afterwards, whenever we was like right towards the tail end, we were talking to them about it, and he was talking about that they were about to investigate shadow creatures, like shadow people.
What?
Yeah, and so
was this when I walked up to you guys randomly talking?
Yeah, it was going around doing the goodbyes, and I was saying, I thought I loved his presentation, and then he started talking about that. And again, this is one of the things you never know what people, sometimes you never know what people really are into or what they're about to be investigating and things like that. And we run into these, and like we just had this real long conversation about shadow people and what me and you had seen working at the psych hospital, and what we'd seen and what I'd seen working at. When I was working with the state and things like that. And it was just, and he showed me 2 videos that were really cool of just like legit shadow people moving across the screen. I thought it was really, I thought it was really, really, really cool to see.
Yeah, if you can find a image of a shadow person moving across the screen and it's moving against a light that's in the background, that is considered to be kind of like one of the pinnacle pictures of a shadow person.
Oh, absolutely. And so that was one of the things that I really liked about him. And so again, I'm going to put all that stuff below, so that way that you guys can check it out and go support all these different presenters, because they had some really phenomenal presentations.
I got a little worried when we started ours, because there was a bit of a break between when we started and the last person. And when we started, like, there was like half the people that had been for all the others. But we were just like, screw it, time to cowboy up. And we just kind of came at it with a lot of vigor.
We did.
And everyone just started trickling back in. And like maybe 5 minutes in, it was about as full as it was.
That was like Michael had just in his talking and did a really again phenomenal job, and then literally just everybody just got up and walked away. And I was like, we're next, guys. Like we drove 8.5 hours to get out here to see you people. And and I think when we first started, there was only like 8 people sitting in the chairs, and
then like this flood just starts flowing back in.
It did, because I screamed. I'm like, let's make it happen, Captain, and hit the record button, and Vic kicked it off, welcoming everybody, and we just started drawing people to that, because I think that's what we try to do. We try to make talk. I mean, we're podcasters. We try to make talking about the paranormal fun, and that's what we want to do, and we want to get excited. And that was one of the things that I really liked about this festival, was I saw so many kids that were there. There was a lot of young people that were there, and I'm like, the next generation. It's going to take.
Of kids and the kids stuff they had there, you are bloody lucky that I did not see that there was a face painting booth until after we had gone on, because I 100% would have went and got my face painted before we went on, but I didn't notice it until we were leaving. That's the only reason you were spared.
And so there were several times that I had to control myself and restrain myself from not immediately jumping onto this bouncy house that they had brought out there as well. I think that was one of the things that honestly that I really thought that Daniel Benoit, the organizer of the event, he just did such a phenomenal job. I think of making something there for everybody. Like, even if you didn't like that, like if you were the obvious wife or get tracked to this, there were vendors that were just even selling other knickknacks.
Oh yeah, no,
they were cool. They were stuff fun for kids.
The thing was set up really, really well. And another thing I did like that Daniel did, I really liked when he just came in and just was like, hey guys, I know you've been listening to us talk about Bigfoot this whole time, but I know you guys are really interested, and I bet you guys have these really great stories yourselves. And I'm just going to open up the floor, and I want to hear you guys in the audience come up and tell us now. And that was a really cool thing to do.
Like, because I saw that on the agenda and it just said open mic, and I was like, am I about to go up and do like a tight 5? Like, are we going to start doing karaoke? Like, what was that? And then he said that, and I'm like, that's so cool, because if you don't do that, do you know how many stories of Bigfoot like that you could miss by not opening that up to the audience? So I thought, yeah, you were right. That was phenomenal, and it brought up that guy. And it brought up
What was the name of that guy?
I want to say I think his name was Peter Lawrence.
You vamp for a second. I have it on my phone.
I'm almost positive that I think that his name was Peter Lawrence, and he came up and he was a private investigator. He was in the military, and he did private investigating, and he did work for an insurance company. And he came up, and he was telling about a personal story involving shooting a Bigfoot, like blasting it with like a shotgun shell, and like it like illuminating with like these red glowing eyes, and it was just such an intense story.
Larry A. Peter.
Wow, I was way off.
I'm going to actually get his book. It's just I didn't have. I think it was like $25 in cash to give him for the book at the time, but. Check this out. So we're getting done with like our presentation. We're walking back and forth and stuff, and I just hear this person go, "Hey, biggin," and I'm a pretty tall guy. So usually when someone says something like that, I know there's a good chance they're talking to me.
That's fine.
And I turn around and I see him. He's kind of sitting at his booth there, and I hadn't really looked at his booth before this. And he's like, "Come over here. Come over here." So I stumble over there, and he's like, "I want to talk to you about something." And he's like I said, since we kind of avoided the whole spiritual, supernatural Bigfoot thing, he starts talking to me about like the evidence that from his research to put it in that camp. And it was really interesting. Next thing I know, like I've set all the stuff down I'm supposed to be carrying to the car, and I'm just sitting on the floor, cross-legged, and just listening to this guy telling me this really interesting story. And I ended up really, really liking the guy. And we're definitely going to try to have him on. We're going to wait till we get the book and read it, of course. But I would love to have this guy on. And then later on, when they did the open thing, he came up and told this, like, wild story.
Yes, he did.
This wild story about, like, Bigfoot and intrigue and government plots and spreading of disease, and worked in cattle mutilation. It was really, really interesting.
I was not expecting a Bigfoot story that eventually leads into talking about cow mutilations, and I'm like, Wow, this took an interesting turn.
I'm really looking forward to reading the book. I'm upset that I just did not have enough physical cash, and that was the only thing he was taking.
And again, if Dano now did that open mic part for it, then again, that would be something that people would miss. So I think if there are people out there that are listening about wanting to start their own like festival, I think that's a phenomenal thing to do. I think that's a great idea to do to get people up there sharing some of their personal stories and letting people out, because that was one of the things that that I was so excited to see so many of the guest speakers talking about, was that how there are so many people that are reporting seeing Bigfoot, and they're out there and they're asking people, hey, come forward, it's okay, you're not alone, you're not crazy, you know, it's more accepting than you think.
Do you know what I think would be really, really cool, but I have no clue how we'd set this up? Some sort of hotline sort of thing where listeners can just call in and give us their story, and then like we can talk about it. That would be really neat, but I just am unsure on how one would set that up.
That's a good idea. I think that would be something we really do. We've got a lot of stuff that I think that we've got to do during the pipeline that we walked away from this festival. Like, for one, definitely thing that we got to do is we got to definitely get like some merch for you guys. Like, we know, and that's been a long time coming, that we want to go. So I was looking at some stuff today, actually, right before we started recording. So that's definitely about to be down the road. So if you have ideas for like phrases that you guys have liked or cool design ideas, definitely put in the comments below, because we love getting those sorts of ideas, from you guys.
So did we cover all the speakers?
Yeah, that was all the speakers that we had, and that represent. I mean, I guess other than ourselves, other than ourselves, for how we felt that we did for our particular thing. I mean, I know that we started great as we were going.
Oh yeah, we're used to looking at each other when talking, not at an audience.
Yeah.
And what you guys don't know is we have this complex system of just like hand symbols. It's looking like Naruto over here, because like we communicate with each other with our hands, kind of saying, "Oh, I have an idea," or "Oh, I'm going to give you pushback on this." We just have all these different things, and we couldn't use them because we're not looking at each other.
So we're looking out to the audience, and we're like making eye contact with people and making connections in the audience, and we're like, just the whole time we're like, oh yeah, Vic's still there too, or oh yeah, Marcus is there too. We kept forgetting that.
Well, you caught on to that fact that wasn't going to work well before me. I'm a creature of habit, so you're just sitting there normally, and I'm sitting next to you doing all these weird hand gestures trying to communicate to you.
You look like Bob, like Ricky Bobby from Talladega Nights. Like, I don't know what to do with my hands right now. They're out in front of me right now. I don't know what to do with. Like, it was that part was kind of funny.
So there were a few awkward pauses here and there just because of that, but altogether we hit I think we hit it pretty hard.
We did, and I think we walked away with some stuff that we definitely wanted to, because when you guys are probably listening to this, you guys have probably checked out our presentation that we did. Definitely leave some thoughts on if you guys didn't know in the last episode. Definitely thoughts or objections that you guys for like Bigfoot's existence, because we could do this again, and I would still love to do like tough, like, an objection that we didn't do that we should have brought up.
What?
Bigfoot is often mistaken for another creature.
Oh man, we did not.
We didn't end up doing that. And it's one of those funny things whenever you do a presentation that you always, like, the second you get off, you immediately realize what you should have. It's like something else you should have said.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, dang, and it got me, and so. But so definitely, if we do another one again, or we do a tough objections, which I don't think is a tough objection, because I think it's just an insult to rural people that they can't recognize an animal.
Yeah. Okay. What was your biggest walk away from the conference?
My biggest walk away from the conference was that there are so many people with different perspectives on the paranormal. Like, we knew that it was so cool that the guest speakers, even though they all disagreed, really didn't like bicker with each other. Like William Nighthawk, like, he was in the room whenever Fred from MUFON was talking, and came over, like, William came over and was engaging the audience, and Fred and them talking to them while some of that was going on. And so, and keep in mind too, like, he definitely was coming at it from a very spiritual perspective as well. Yeah. And the whole time, never heckled us at all during that.
And when we walked up to talk to him, did you hear what he said when we were walking up?
What did he say?
He goes, "Oh, I'm in trouble. What I do now?" Because the thing is, like, since we were very analytical in ours, I think he thought that we were going to come up and pick a fight with him since he's so spiritual. And then I just went like, "You're not in trouble for anything. Your whole thing was great."
Yeah, like he was cool. Like he. Was
he's a hugger. He hugged both of us.
It was cool. Like the coolest thing was he did not even use like the TV or anything. He was the only one that didn't, and he was engaging the whole time. Like, he was walking around showing stuff with his phone, or just talking about cultural stories. It was the coolest thing and he still had everybody engaged and everybody watching him just the entire time. And just that was one of the coolest takeaways from it was like all of these different guest speakers could still be respectful of each other the entire time, even though we were coming at it from different perspectives.
My big walkaway was this: that people who want to talk to you about Bigfoot have the best candy. Every booth and everyone who's trying to get your attention had candy, and it was A+ freaking candy.
That was absolutely true.
I the guy who was like, "Biggin, come over here." He had a cool story, but the fact that he had paydays and he was just letting me eat as many paydays as I wanted definitely helped to keep me there.
That's how Bigfoot researchers lure you in. They lure you in. It's like, "Hey, would you like some candy?" "No, let me talk to you about Bigfoot."
Oh, and who is the guy who was the second speaker?
That was Michael Cook.
Yeah, like Michael Cook. At one point, you were talking to Michael Cook, and I realized there's licorice in his bowl, and I'm sitting there just picking out all the freaking licorice. He goes, "Dude, you're taking all my licorice." And I just throw my hands open and go, "Come at me, bro. You can fight me. I'm getting away with this licorice. This licorice is mine." But no, okay. My real walkaway is probably. These things are actually really good for knowing where the conversation is. Because when you do independent research and talk with like a smallish team, it's real easy to believe you have a better grasp on the pulse of the conversation than you do. Like I said, it just blew my mind that there were so many people still in the ape camp. And I knew that this was an argument because in a lot of Keel's books, Keel talks about these being the primary arguments. It was just my understanding that they had kind of faded away by now. And now I'm kind of interested to hear their arguments. I want to hear their arguments on being an ape instead of a hominid.
Well, there's some descriptions. I mean, descriptions of Bigfoot can be radically different. I mean, there's some of them with a sagittal crest, some of them without a sagittal crest. There's some of them that draw them way more ape-like, and some that are way more like that hominid-like. So it doesn't shock me that there's some people out there that still have that thought.
But like, yeah, skunk ape does seem like an ape.
Right.
But like most of the descriptions of Bigfoot, like I really read those as being very hominid-esque, and I want to hear their arguments now. I want to get more engaged in this ape argument now.
I think that's definitely a good walk. That's definitely a good walk away. Something that I learned that I thought was really, really interesting. This came from William's presentation when he was talking about that people leave offerings to Bigfoot in the woods. That was one of the most interesting things that I learned at this that I did not know that people did. And he said that he was encouraging people to not leave terrible offerings. Like he was like, "Don't leave." He's like, "I've seen cases of beer and out there." And I'm like, one for me and one from a Bigfoot homies, like just leaving and out there.
I don't know if I was Bigfoot. That's probably what I'd want. It's probably not good for them,
right? but he was encouraging people to leave stuff like apples.
Another way he says,
orange.
don't leave donuts.
Or donuts. Yeah, that was the other. Yeah, don't leave donuts and beer. Like for some reason Americans think Bigfoot is Homer Simpson. Like that's like we said, like you're out there in the woods and you leave beer and donuts, you're either summoning Homer Simpson or a Sasquatch.
Oddly enough, like this isn't the first time I've heard about this because I've heard this brought up on MU before, but it's one of those things where you hear people talk about it, but you don't hear people talk about it often. And some people on there were suggesting like he was apples or like peanut butter, things like that.
I think that would be a really interesting episode to talk about because it reminded me of our trip down to Mammoth Cave and that weird shrine thing that we found that had like the flowers offering left on it. And I think that would be an interesting talk, like some of the stuff that people leave out in the wilderness.
Yeah, we were
near some of these
entities. A famously haunted area. And it was me, Marcus, and Ricky Bruckman from Mount Vernon Paranormal, now actually a member of One Candle. And we were driving down the road, and we were kind of pulling away, and this is during the day because it was during our daytime scouting. And we're kind of talking about the case. And Ricky just goes, stop.
We're driving.
And we're like, what's going on? He's like, pull over. And we pull over. He's like, "What is that?" And he points at this stone structure out there. And I'm like, "It's probably just an old foundation or something." And he's like, "No, I think it's something else." So we go out there and start checking it out. And it's like an old foundation that's mostly crumbled that's been converted to what the only thing I could describe it as was effectively an altar. And it had fresh flowers arranged on it. They were only small wildflowers, but the thing is this, they were light enough that the wind would easily carry them away. We're near a road, so it's not like the trees are going to fully stop the wind. There was no sign of decay around the tips of the flower petals. There was no signs of decay around the stems. It was fresh. Mm-hmm. Whoever had left this, I'm going to call it an offering for lack of a better term. Whoever left this offering had left it very recently. It was very fresh. It had to be... What, like in the last 6 hours?
Yeah, it had it just hadn't decayed at all, and so that definitely, like, is making me realize like how often is this going on? Like that's something that I'm curious. Like how prevalent is this that these things are sort of going on? In what way? That's definitely something that I want to know.
Oh yeah, definitely some good stuff to dig into in the future.
You guys,
I also want to do more trips like this and come back with more unique stories.
Absolutely, I would love that. If you guys know of any conventions out there that you guys like to see us, definitely put them below. We'd love to reach out and do that because this was so much fun. Just getting to meet people that drove down just to see us, getting to present, getting to meet Daniel and all that. And again, big shout out to him too. Definitely go up to E.C.B.R.O, Virginia Bigfoot Con, because his next event that he's doing is going to be it's in the same place. And so again, if they're doing it out there at the same place, it's going to be June 17th next year. So we had mark your calendars. They're already looking for stuff. So, and
I know this was a little bit of a different sort of episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it.
Yeah, we hope that you guys did too. We wanted because we had so much fun. We want to give a shout out to just everybody and how much of a good job that everybody did, and our thoughts on all the guest speakers and stuff. And we're going to bring them on for you.
I think we're going to probably invite almost everyone we talk to come in and talk to you guys.
Oh, yeah. So, again, if you guys didn't from the last episode, definitely leave you guys thoughts on our presentation below and things like that, or any things that we talked about in this episode. But until next time, guys, keep believing.
Because we'll keep listening.
All right, guys, we're going to slide into the Pillow Talk segment of this podcast. If you want to check out the rest of the awesome podcast, all you got to do is go over to our Patreon and sign up for as little as $1 a month. You get the rest of this awesome podcast as well as bonus content that we put up exclusively for our patrons. And if you sign up for $2 more of a month, you get to vote on the vote on the poll. That's for the theme of the month.
For next month, because we're a month behind right now.
We are. So through October, we're going to be doing talking about bargeists. And
phantom
spectral creatures. And so
sorry, we're tired.
Yeah, we're very tired. And so our first episode is gonna be about bargeists. And before I get too far into this, Justin, if you are listening, don't forget to reach out to us on any social media because I told you to do that. Please definitely reach out to you, and I'll explain to you why whenever you reach out. You can check us on our email, the #1 candlesociety@gmail.com, or any of our social medias and stuff. But you didn't think there'd be a Pillow Talk segment of this podcast, but we got some stuff to talk about.
Okay, we did not share the strangest story of our journey here. Something very weird happened. We tend to be a bit of a magnet for unusual things. Do you want to start this, or do you want me to?
And so we're driving really late at night. We're probably about maybe 45 minutes from the hotel. So we've been driving for a good 7.5 hours, which, as I'm saying this, I'm still